before we started recording, I was just saying that I had met Dr. Wong as Serena. You were a second or third year. Which year were you?
Oh, maybe a third year.
Third year grad.
Maybe second.
Yeah, you were a graduate student and you came to my FAP workshop and you were really nervous, but you came up to me afterwards. And I was so glad that you did. And you said to me, I've never seen an Asian American female leading a workshop. I don't know if that was how you put it.
Yeah. And
you didn't have any Asian female role models.
No Asian American supervisors, let alone a co-founder of a therapy. And I was so moved by the approach. I knew I wanted to work with you and embody the spirit of awareness, courage, and love somehow.
And you did it by approaching me that day. It was such an honor for me.
May I ask how long ago that?
Miko, you're in charge of this. So.
Oh, not at all. Please, let's just have a conversation. So when was that?
It was the Montreal conference. I imagine it must be more than 5 years ago, right, Mavis? Or sorry, Dr. Sai.
Mavis. I think because our titles are up there, we can call each other whatever we want.
Yeah.
We can actually look that up. But go ahead and keep asking questions, Miko.
Okay. And so it sounds like you were in the graduate program at UW, University of Washington?
No. So I did my doctoral training at Bowling Green State University in Ohio. And it was my first time presenting at a conference in Montreal. And I had the audacity to invite Mavis to come to my presentation after, and she did.
I just loved your presentation. And I knew I wanted you as part of the ACL project because your work on cultivating sacred interactions is just so aligned with what I believe in.
Yeah, the presentation at the time was about the darker side of spiritual and religious appraisals and how that links to mental health. We study both the kind of the lighter and the darker sides of spirituality and religion.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about where you're currently working at and what its focus is?
Sure. So right now I work as a psychologist at St. Joseph's Healthcare London, and my building is a psychiatric hospital. I devote my time to two services. One is the adult mental health service, and the other is geriatric psychiatry. I work with both adults and seniors, and I offer psychological assessments, consultations, individual and group psychotherapies, along with doing research on these groups and program development.
That's a lot of work. And people are going to hear London and think it's London, England. So
yes.
It's London, Ontario.
Yes, that's right. London of Canada. And yeah, I guess I can expand a little bit about studies. You had mentioned that earlier. There is a pandemic of loneliness, and there is a increase in the older adult population. So I'm interested in the science of emotional connection and how we can alleviate that loneliness, and also incorporating the role of spirituality and religion in mental health. And hopefully building religious and spiritual competencies in mental health providers. Those are just some of my interests. They're all over the place sometimes.
Hey, can you expand a little bit on the experience you've had so far with, you mentioned the religious, and I'm thinking about the whole scientific approach and how a lot of people might view those as conflicting. What kind of experience have you had?
Yeah, so I think that traditionally, psychologists, maybe thanks to Freud, have seen religion and spirituality as separate and the future of an illusion. What research would support, and I think what my mentor, Dr. Kenneth Pargament, has really advocated for, is integrating spirituality and religion into mental health care and healing, because spirituality can be such a resource, a way to find resilience, and a way to affirm life. And spirituality has a dark side, right? To recognize the ways in which it has been used to hurt and to harm and to close in on people. Yeah, so studies would just show that integrating this, letting people talk about religion and spirituality and what it means to them in therapy is oftentimes going to have better outcomes for the patient rather than just saying, oh, go and talk to your pastor about this. We don't talk about that in here.
Thank you for that, Serena. I'll continue with the questions then. So it sounds like you became aware of the ACL Global project when you met Mavis. And how did you decide to get involved with the work that we're doing and or apply what we're all about with the work that you're doing, if that makes sense?
It just seemed like a natural response to rising levels of loneliness and the increasing population of older adults, particularly those with mental health challenges. I thought we need a program that's science-based, that's scalable, and can maximize the number of people who might be able to benefit. I felt like Mavis has done just that with Awareness, Courage, and Love Global. So it just seemed like the perfect fit for the work we do here.
How many geriatric inpatients are involved in this project?
So we have run the group twice now. We ran a 4-week version, and then we also are running an 8-week version. And we've had, I would say, like over 10 right now. And they've been well attended. People come back to them. And I can talk more about it later, but there's just these beautiful moments and friendships that have emerged from the groups. And my favorite quote from yesterday was someone saying, I love you to bits, honey bunches, and just holding the bear that they have, which is an adaptation we made for this population.
I love you to bits, honey bunches.
Yeah.
So she was saying that to the whole group?
To one person in particular who was going to be discharged.
Oh, how does this work since it's a study?
Yeah, we are actually implementing the groups now as a pilot. So we're not collecting any data that can be used for research, but we're waiting on ethics approval from the University of Western Ontario. That should come pretty soon, hopefully. I might have actually lost track of your question. Maybe could you repeat that?
Well, you're answering my question because it's a study, but when you're saying we're actually not collecting data right now, this is just a pilot.
Yeah, we're getting informal feedback and just ironing out any kinks. We've made even more adaptations based on what the patients have said. One of the adaptations is captured in the photo that I've shared with you. We have 2 bears. One is listening Logan and one is talking Taylor. And therefore, the designated roles we have for each person who would like to share and would like to practice listening with an open heart. And our adaptation after a patient requested it was, can everybody have a bear if they just want to hold on to it and be a part of the group and feel included? So the next session, we had 8 bears. And, we had a patient embroider the names of listening Logan and talking Taylor onto the scarves of the bears. And just to make sure these were the ones with the roles.
That touches exactly on one of the questions that we had, which was how you're adapting the protocols to the population.
Yeah, exactly. And we shortened the length of time. ACL, I think, usually can extend up to 90 minutes. And we've made it 60 minutes. And then we focus on one question each that is related to awareness, courage, and love. Some other adaptations are for varying levels of cognition, like abstraction and memory loss. So we print the mindfulness exercises in larger font for those with hearing loss to follow along. And we have a parting ceremony for patients who are going to be discharged before the group ends. So those are just some of the adaptations.
What hopes do you have with the study and the work that you're doing? What are you trying to, what's your major vision?
I think what drives me is this belief that healing comes from deep connection, either with, and probably both with yourself and with other people. And it takes a village to heal and to grow. I think these groups are a way to spread that opportunity for growth, to invite people to be able to access something that is therapeutic for them, and just be able to witness people as they are without having to try to fix them or try to change them or rescue them right away, but just to fully accept them first. I think Mavis is an inspiration for all of this. So I'm just hoping to walk in her footsteps and spread this to the geriatric population.
All over Canada and then all over the world. That's my vision.
Yeah, if any hospitals or organizations would like, we're more than happy to share our protocol, and they can do whatever they like with it. We have our materials, we have our measures. I think the spirit of ACL is low barrier, keep things accessible. And if you want to take a look at any of these things, please, by all means, and we can collect data too, if that's possible.
Yeah, I love it that you're a scientist as well, because the data part is important.
Yeah, for sure. We are data driven, and I'm hoping that, and I think what we're seeing is going to be reflected by the data eventually that we're going to collect. And we're looking at life satisfaction and loneliness, as well as social closeness, sacred moments, and relational health across time points.
It's really exciting. Is there anything else you want to say before you go get your patient?
Thank you for this opportunity to talk about this project. It's something that I think everybody who's been involved has really put their heart into. Yeah, would that be okay with you? I guided us through some questions.
Okay.
Okay, so we've had quite a few group sessions together,
Yeah.
haven't we? Where we've done awareness, courage, and love, and we tried to practice that together. One of the things that Agnes has done too is make some adjustments for the bears. I don't know if you wanted to talk about that, Agnes.
Are you aware of bears?
Yes.
One name was Logan, and so we chose Taylor as the other name because they're both unisex names. So this one's Listening Logan, and this one is Talking Taylor.
That's wonderful. Listening Logan and Talking Taylor. Yes.
And then they had extra bears, so I have my own bear.
I heard that everyone wanted their own bears.
Yeah, and that was your idea, eh?
Yes, it was my idea because Dr. Wong offered me a bear, and I said yes, actually in the first group of sessions, and I still have to do a session 4.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So maybe on the next round, if you're here.
When we do our heart-to-heart, we'll use the bears.
Yeah, I like that. I've just seen it in the groups where you model that too for the other patient. How has this group impacted you?
I think it's helped me to have better relationships.
Yeah.
And with just a few people, I think they're very important.
Something I've noticed is you're incorporating love to each other in the groups and also outside of the groups on the unit.
And there's 3 of us that hug on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And actually, another member of our group was discharged today. She walked right by me and I said goodbye. And the staff with her, told her it was me. And he turned around and came back to give me a hug.
Oh. Yeah, it's just like you got to know each other on a deeper level.
Yeah.
And I can see how all of you have fully accepted each other and connect with each other? I know you've exchanged contact information with some of them.
I think being aware to me has meant that I am able to notice more things, and sometimes they're upsetting and sometimes they're just beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah, and you take that all in, right?
And I do have the courage to speak out,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I get myself in trouble. But then the love part's the hardest, because I can love others, but I was raised in a Christian home, and in our home we were taught that I should love my neighbor, but they forgot the last phrase. So I'm learning to love myself.
Yeah, I can see you learning how to do that just in the moment that you shared with me about accepting yourself. And it is often so much harder to turn that love inward. And I think it's so beautiful that you have come to a place where you want to do that for yourself. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.